Hey now, welcome back, Pokemon trainers. This is your friendly neighborhood Bullados, and today we are at the Forbidden Light League Cup at Level Up Games in South St. Paul, Minnesota. We are in the finals of this tournament. On your left, we have Caleb Patton, and on your right, we have Jason Robertson. Both players are coming in with Zoroark, Lycanroc decks, and I'm pretty certain that they're almost the identical lists. There might be a card or two difference. I see that Jason has Deontay, that Caleb doesn't, but we'll see more about what during this game. Tapu Lele. So Jason on your right starts out with a Tapu Lele, searches a Bridget, lets him search for 3 basic Pokemon and puts them on the bench. I'm going to try and see if I can see the major differences. I really can't see all that many. Looks like Caleb has more float stones than Jason does, which is going to be a big deal in this. So yeah, Jason ends his turn after searching for 3 basic Pokemon and attaching an energy to one of them. I'm pretty certain that he attached to a Rockruff. Past his turn, Caleb drops a drops an Ultra Ball, searches for Tapu Lele, gets Bridget, searches his deck for 3 basic Pokemon, and I see a Rockruff and probably two Zoroas. Even though Zoroark is weak to Lycanroc, you still need to get them out so that you can get the rest of your deck going. The Zoroas themselves are weak, unfortunately, but you're trying to get as many Lycanrocs going as you can possibly get. And so Caleb ends his turn without attaching an energy. That's a big deal in this matchup. It'll set him behind by at least a turn. Jason evolves to Lycanroc, uses his first trade. I think he might have evolved to a second Lycanroc as well. Trade lets you discard a card from your hand in order to draw 2 cards from the top of your deck. And there's the second trade. I see a Parallel City. That's going to force Caleb to drop down to 3 Pokemon on his bench. If it were me, I'd just get rid of the Lele because it's not going to do anything for him later in the game, and he really needs the Zoroarks to deal damage. There's a double colorless from Zoroark, and an N forces both players to shuffle their hands into their decks and draw a new hand of 6 cards. Jason is really far out in front right now. Getting the first knockout, the first energy attachment, with Caleb missing an energy attachment and having no real way to accelerate energy in his deck. Jason's in a very, very strong position in this first game, best of 3. This best of 3 will take place over 50 minutes as Jason evolves into Zoroark. Game 1 counts no matter what. Game 2 will only count if one player has taken at least 4 prize cards. Jason trades, gets another 2 cards, and knocks out the Rockruff. Caleb sends up his Zorua, and he might have a couple of Zoroarks in his hand. So there comes a Zoroark with a double colorless energy. He's going to Ultra Ball probably to find the other Zoroark, because he just wants to draw cards, but he's going to instead pull up a Rockruff, get a knockout that way. I believe he has 1 card left in his hand. He's still going to search through his deck, try and see what else is in there. Unless he played another... there was a Tapu Lele played, which will get him a Cynthia, shuffle his hand into his deck, draw a new hand of 6. As I was saying, in best of 3, first game counts no matter what. Second game will only count if one player takes at least 4 prize cards. Third game, if that's necessary, will count no matter what if it happens. And there are some other random time things things that we'll get into if they happen. But these games should go pretty quick, and we very likely will not go to time. Both players have already taken a prize card. There comes an Evo Soda, which will get Caleb his second Zoroark. And he now has a couple of trades that he can use, which he probably will. Jason's deck. That's another difference between the two. I see Time Pulse instead. I saw Double Colors. There's a trade of a strong energy. I would not have gotten rid of that strong energy because that's, well, I don't think it matters really. There's a second trade of Zoroark. I don't think Caleb has any recovery cards other than the puzzles in his deck, but he's going to ride his meeting to knock out the Rockruff. Jason comes back with his Zoroark. It looks like he's got 3 Zoroarks in play, and with a Tapu Lele and a Rockruff. He has a big meta cards, and he has the ability to really multiply that now. He's debating on what he wants to discard first for his first Zoroark, unless he's playing an Ultra Ball, which is going to use to get probably a Lycanroc. I'm not sure why I would want to get a Lycanroc here. I don't know what he would want to bring up. I might just bring up the Lycanroc and try and deal some damage to it, because is he just going to evolve it without using its ability? That's a bit strange. Every time you play a Lycanroc, you should want to use that ability to get a little bit further ahead. But maybe he's just getting it to just to make sure that that Rockruff doesn't get knocked out. I do know that both players all play only 3 Rockruff apiece. 2 from Forbidden Legends and 1 from Guardians Rising. The Forbidden Legends one has the advantage of 10 extra HP. The Guardians Rising one has the corner attack. There's Jason's first trade. He got rid of a fighting energy. He still has to attach for his turn. He's going to drop a strong onto his benched Lycanroc. And he has 2 more trades that he can use if he wants to. He might not want to use them, though. But if it's me, I would try and get as many of them as I can. There's a second trade, lets him draw 2 more cards, and here comes the third trade. But he's debating what he wants to get rid of for it. So Jason, with his Parallel City, has Caleb damage locked. Caleb can't do more than about 110 damage using his Zoroarks. And I don't think Caleb has a way. He might, but he only has 2 outs to get rid of those Parallel Cities. It's like Jason used a Acerola to put 2 cards on top of his deck. He uses his final trade. And there's a Lycanroc with an energy and a choice band. And there's a multi-switch, which allows him to switch the energy up to the active, and he's going to use his GX attack. Does 50 damage times the amount of benched Pokemon. And there might be a Deontay on there is not a Deontay on the field, and they need to clean that up a bit. Rescue Stretcher. Caleb gets to bring 3 Pokemon, either 1 Pokemon to his hand or 3 Pokemon to his deck from his discard pile. He's going to take a Rockruff. If it were me, I'd probably be taking 3. So a Rockruff, a Zoroark, and a Tapu Lele. So I see Tapu Lele come active with a double colorless. He knows that there are 3 energies attached to that Zoroark's, not the Zoroark, to the Lycanroc. So Lycanroc would take 100 damage from Tapu Lele, which is more than what it would be taking from Caleb's benched Zoroarks. Plus, it allows him to preserve the Zoroarks as much as possible. With that being said, Jason is still in a commanding position, having gotten the first energy, not missing an energy drop. He's got 3 prizes left to take. Caleb uses an end to try and stem the tide, but I'm not sure what else he can do for it. Uses trade getting rid of what I think is a Bridget. And he still has 1 more trade that he can use if he wants to, getting rid of a Zoroark. There's a Rockruff come down. I believe he's already attached his energy for the turn, but it's good to see that Rockruff out for him. He uses Energy Drive to deal 100 damage to the Lycanroc. Jason's turn. And right now he doesn't really need a whole heck of a lot. He's just gonna trade and draw cards to give himself options for later on in this game. He might be thinking about finding a Guzma to get the Zoroark with energies. And there's another trade. There's the 3rd trade. And we've got what looks like an Ultra Ball, I think. No, that's a Timer Ball. There's a Guzma bringing up the one with energy. He's going to bring up the Float Stone and Claw Slash for I think like 280 damage or something like that. Either way, it's a knockout on the Zoroark. Taylor brings up his Tapu Lele. He's going to evolve into Lycanroc and not use the ability because he wants that Lycanroc active from Jason. Caleb is still in a rather poor position. Floats the active Choice Band to the benched Zoroark. Wonder Tag Lele comes into play. He's going to search his deck for a supporter card and put it into his hand. He might be searching for Guzma, but that's an N instead. Jason has 1 prize card left. He'll only draw 1 card, while Caleb has 5 prize cards remaining. So he'll draw 5. I know that Caleb really wants to use that Lycanroc, just like Jason has been using his Lycanroc, but at this point his best move is to just use Tapu Lele. Maybe drop maybe Bandit, or he's already attached the energy, so it would only do 100 damage, but that's not enough to take out the... Hold on. So I was mistaken. Lycanroc only has 200 HP. Most Stage 1 GXs have 210, so that is a drawback. And you saw it right there, the two energy drives knocks out the Lycanroc. Zoroark comes up. And Jason's first trade comes down. He's just using his trades. He's trying to dig for something. Is that a Cynthia that he used? Shuffles his hand into his deck, draws 6 new cards. He must still be looking for a double colorless. Or else he's gonna bench his Zoroark. I don't know what he's spending so much time digging for on Jason's side. 4, 5, 6. I saw another. There comes a Rockruff. And Jason's going to retreat his active Zoroark into his benched one. Use Riotous Beating for 100 damage to the Tapu Lele. and Caleb is going to want to get that Lele out of the active immediately. He's going to trade, get rid of Goose. Looks like a Guzma. Field Blower gets rid of a Floatstone and the Parallel City, which is going to matter because he's just going to drop another Parallel City. We saw that in Jason's hand a bit earlier. Caleb would be on his best bet to just not put anything else down. Just try and attach to his Lycanroc and deal and knock out his opponent. Got a double puzzle. That's a Fighting Energy, and is that a Tapu Lele? That Tapu Lele is going to Wonder Tag for an N, if I'm reading Caleb correctly. But he also got the Lele just to get another Pokemon on his bench for Zoroark a bit later on. He might be out of ends. So he gets a Kukui. I don't know why he would need a Kukui here. But he's going to hold on to that Kukui for later. There's the double to the benched. Up comes Lycanroc. And Caleb has to hope that Jason doesn't have a Guzma in his hand. That's a Floatstone, Choice Band. I think those are on backwards, or backwards to how I would play them. Then he's going to play Cynthia, shuffle his hand into his deck, and draw 6. He was clearly looking for an N earlier, but he just couldn't chase it out. So he shuffled his hand. Caleb shuffles his hand into his deck, draws a new hand of 6. He's got a Parallel City. He's going to parallel himself to get rid of his own Tapu Lele with damage counters. It's a good idea, actually. This Claw Swipe deals 220 damage, 260, 280, something like that. Either way, it knocks out the Zoroark after weakness. Jason's in trouble now. And I thought he had the game most of the way, but he's just run out of steam these last few turns. So he gets to trade, draw 2 cards. That was a brilliant play by Caleb, using his own Parallel City to get damage off of his board. I'm not sure what else Jason has on his side that can deal with that. He does have an active Zoroark with double colorless energy, but he really needs another Lycanroc, and I don't think he has another one left. Jason knows he's in trouble. I'm not sure what he can use to get out of this at this point. He's already used 2 of his trades. There's the 3rd. I think he might have used a hammer with that, which that would not have been a good idea. He needs that hammer. He needs those hammers to get rid of Caleb's special energies. Jason might have a puzzle of time that he could use use to get 2 cards out of his discard pile, but I'm not sure what he can get to turn this game around at this point. He needs a Guzma. It's a puzzle getting back an enhanced and a float. It's going to want to use that enhanced on Lycanroc's strong energy, because Caleb doesn't have a fighting energy. I'm not sure if Caleb has a fighting energy left. He only uses 1 fighting force strong, and I know he's used a bunch of them. Switch. That's a Deontay just put into play. Two cards to get the game. So he played it. Looks like he played Jason misplays his way into a win. He should have brought up the Zoroark with Lycanroc, but he brings up Tapu Lele instead. But off the Sycamore, he hits the 2 cards that he needs out of, I think, 7 out of 8 or something like that. So Jason ends up taking game 1. There are 22 minutes into this match. There's about another 28 minutes left. Yeah, that was not a good play by Jason. I can hear everyone behind me just criticizing Jason for taking the hardest way possible to taking that match. He could have just brought out the Zoroark and do 220 to it. That knocks it out. So we go into game 2. Kayla gets to choose who's going first. I don't know if you guys can hear all of the conversation going on behind me, but Jason and Caleb they're talking to each other a lot right now. They're replaying that game a little bit, but they might want to get it going because they're just wasting time. At least Caleb is. So, ooh, that's interesting. Caleb starts off with his Mew EX. That is clearly not who he wants to start with. He's going to, ooh, and he has to start with a Kukui. Oh man. Ultra Ball. I see a lot of material in his hand. So there's a Guzma and a Lycanroc. Ooh, that's not how he wants to open this game. He only plays 2 Lycanroc in this deck. And I don't think he has too many ways to get him back. He's going to get a Lele and put it into his hand. He doesn't want to use that this turn. Is he benching it? He's benching it. That means he wants to get a Bridget. But he can't use it anymore because he uses Kukui for his supporter this turn. So he's just playing it to get another Pokemon into play. Jason could very easily knock out that Mew, so it is very much not safe. Zoroark can do as much as 150 damage. He's going to attach a fighting energy to the Mew and Parallel City to hopefully stop Jason from getting too much out. Jason's going to play a Tapu Lele. Tapu Lele will search his deck for a supporter card. He's probably looking for a Bridget. Or he's not looking for a Bridget. He's looking for another kind of draw. He's just playing Cynthia, it looks like. Shuffle his hand into his deck, draw a new hand of 6. I know that he's looking for one of his field blowers. He runs 2 of them. He's looking for field blowers and any other basic Pokemon that he can find. He started with a Zoroark, it looks like. I don't see any other basic Pokemon that look anything like that. There's another breakthrough Zoroark that a lot of people don't use because it has a little less HP. It could be useful in certain situations. You cannot play that Parallel City. You cannot play a stadium if the stadium of the same name is already in play. So, looks like he just benches a Rockruff, I think, and ends his turn. Caleb starts off by using Bridget, searches his deck for 3 basic Pokemon, puts them all on his bench. Zoroark, Rockruff, and 2 Zoroarks and a Rockruff. And I think he just ended his turn off after that. So Jason's turn falls to Zoroark and trades his Parallel City to get 2 new cards. Gonna double the Zoroark. He can only do 60 at this point. That's not enough to knock out the Mew. He's going to use a second trade? Or is that a Kukui? I think that was a Kukui, so Riders Meeting looks like it does 100 damage. Maybe 80. 100 damage from Kukui. He might have been digging for a choice man to get that knockout. Caleb comes up, evolves both of his Zoroarks to Zoroarks. It evolves into Lycanroc, drops a Tapu Lele, searches for a Sycamore, but he might be thinking of something else. I think Sycamore is the best option at this point, depending on... I don't think he has a hand left. He dropped a double to the Zoroark. He's looking for something else. He might be thinking about Acerola. Yeah, that's a good card too. Stops Jason from taking a cheap knockout off the Mew EX. Gives Jason a bit more to work with. Trades away the Mew. I see a double colorless and an Ultra Ball. He's going to trade the Ultra Ball, getting 2 more things. I saw a Floatstone. I couldn't see what the other thing was. Riders Beating is going to knock out the Rockruff. Just opposite to the first game, Caleb takes a commanding lead by knocking out as many vulnerable basic Pokemon as possible. And though Jason does have, unlike in the first game, Jason did attach an energy, so he's at least on his energies this game, I think. Jason played Mallow, let it search his deck for 2 cards and puts them on top of his deck. He's looking for anything that he can use this turn because Zoroark can fish those cards out from his deck immediately. Or at least fish them from the top of the deck. Did not see what 2 cards Jason took. There's his trade, so he picks those 2 up. That's what looks like a Rockruff. It's going to evolve something else. Drops a double to his Tapu Lele. That'll only attack for 80 damage. There's a second trade. Looks like he has 2 Zoroarks and a Rockruff in play. It does 80 damage to Caleb's Zoroark. Caleb starts out with a trade. He's going to bench Rockruff and probably wants to attach an energy to his other Lycanroc that's in play. But there's a second trade. Is he digging for an energy? He might not have an energy in his hand to attach. But if he does, he wants to get it out. There's his only basic fighting energy goes to the Lycanroc. That's another difference between the two decks. Jason runs one fewer strong in order to run one more fighting energy. Caleb is going to use Cynthia, shuffle his hand into its deck, draw a new hand of 6 cards. He's already used both of his trades, and he has no ability to get another trade into play. More than likely, he's just going to sit there with the Zoroark active and attack the Lele for what is right now 120 damage, but could become 150 if he pulls. So he just took it for 120. 20 damage for each Pokemon you have in play. Jason's turn, draws his card. He does have the 2 trades, so he takes the first trade. I think that was his second trade, so he's now drawn off of his 2 trades. He still has the Tapu Lele active. He does not want that there anymore. He wants to get that thing away from the active position. He's digging for what is probably a fighting energy, and probably a multi-switch, because we saw that he played one in the last game, and that was a huge play that he made in the first game, but I don't think he got the multi-switch and the Lycanroc. So he'd need 3 cards to take a knockout in here. He needs a multi-switch, a Lycanroc, and a Guzma, and I don't think he has all 3 of them. He's going to attach a double to his other Zoroark, retreat Tapu Lele. He's going to ride his beating for another 80 damage. That Zoroark should now have 160 on it, and it should get knocked down during the next turn. Caleb starts with a trade, getting rid of his Bridget. And there's his second trade, drawing another 2 cards. Puzzle of Time lets him search his discard for 2 cards that he wants out of there, and puts them into his hand. I see him grabbing a Lycanroc and a Trainer card. Is that an Acerola? I think that's an Acerola he just pulled. So Acerola will pick up the Zoroark, will push the Lycanroc, bench Zorua, attach to the Lycanroc, and he might decide to evolve the other Lycanroc. I don't know. There's a choice band there's the totally unnecessary Lycanroc. Might be useful later, but right now it's totally unnecessary for that knockout. Jason's turn, draws his card. I did not see him use his trade yet. So I just heard Jason use his first trade, and I think that's his only trade. He's going to, what is that, Field Blower to get rid of the Stadium and the Tool. Now lets Jason fill up his bench, but damage might have already been done. I'm not sure if there's a way that Jason can draw his way out of this at this point. It'll take a combination of a lot of very lucky draws to get out of this. Caleb right now has 1 shot on his Zoroarks. Jason might be thinking about Guzma or something else. So I see him dropping a choice band onto what looks like a Zorua. There might also be a Mewtwo. I see that it does run a Mewtwo Evo in here. Oh, that's not Mewtwo GX. I'm sorry. That's... I don't know what that is he dropped it on, but he now has a full bench. And just played a Tapu Lele to get an N. There's his second trade. He must have gotten a another Zoroark off of that. And sorry, I haven't been paying as close attention as I should. So much other stuff going around in this store. They've right now got a $5 pack per win Pokemon tournament going, and they just posted the first round pairings for that. Jason is going to attach a fighting energy to his Zoroark, and he's right as meeting for 120 damage to the Lycanroc. Doesn't really phase Caleb all that much. Evo Soda is going to search out Lycanroc. No, Zoroark. He should not have a Zoroark in his hand because of the end. So Caleb now has both of his Zoroarks back out. He's going to start trading again. And his active Lycanroc can still one-shot anything that Jason has in play. Trade from Caleb, that's his first one. There's a double to the bench to Zoroark, which doesn't matter at this point, but might matter later on. Caleb uses Claw Swipe, which does 220 damage, knocking out the Zoroark. Jason brings up his own Zoroark. There's a timer ball, flip 2 coins for each heads. He gets to search his deck for an evolution Pokemon, and he just double tails. So that didn't help him at all. I think I see a Rockruff on his bench and 2 other basic Pokemon. One of them I know is a Tapu Lele. Might be... Does he have 2 puzzles? If not, he's looking for an Ultra Ball. There's an Ultra Ball that comes down. Probably going to grab a Lycanroc. Well, it's either Lycanroc or Zoroark. I'm actually going to guess Zoroark, because he needs more card drawing at this point. And that's Zoroark, I believe. He doesn't need to switch out Caleb's Lycanroc. He wants that thing active, because that's where all of Caleb's damage is coming from right now. And that looks like a Cynthia that Jason just dropped down. Lets him shuffle his hand into his deck and draw a new hand of 6. Oh no, that wasn't a Cynthia, that was an N. So both players shuffle in and draw for their number of prizes, so Jason gets 6 and Caleb gets 1. Most times this is a very bad situation for a person with only 1 prize, but Caleb has got 2 Zoroarks. 2 Zoroarks in play. He can draw into whatever he needs. Jason drops another basic fighting onto the Zoroark. Right as meeting and knocks out the Lycanroc. Caleb counters with his own Zoroark and evolves to Lycanroc, pulls up any one of Jason's benched basics for the knockout. So Caleb takes game 2, and we now move on to game 3, where Jason will get to choose who goes first, and more than likely he'll choose to go first. There are about 11 minutes remaining in this round. This third game will count no matter what. If it does go to time, it will go down to prize cards. Whoever's taken the most prize cards at time will take the match. That is if it doesn't finish in the next, now, 10.5 minutes. This is the kind of matchup where going first and hitting your cards, obviously, but going first is a gigantic advantage. Getting that first energy attachment, getting first evolution, getting first knockout, that changes the game here. looks like Jason might have mulliganed. Oh no, he does have a basic, but he doesn't seem too happy about it. So, let's start game 3. We have 10 minutes remaining in the round. I think that's a Zoroark Jason has active. Doesn't seem too happy about it, but he does start off with a Bridget. So there's a Rockruff, a Zoroark, and probably another Rockruff. If he has a Rockruff, he's going to get another Rockruff. He might not have a Rockruff. It might have gotten prized. Did he just take 2 Zoroarks? Did he just take 4 Pokemon there? Whatever they're doing, it must be okay, because Judge hasn't said anything. There's Jason's Parallel City. That game has turned both of the first 2 games on their heads. He just attaches a fighting energy to his benched Rockruff and ends his turn. Caleb starts out with his own Bridget. He started active with Tapu Lele, and he's going to get what looks like 2 Rockruffs and a Zoroark. They should have played this matchup several times before getting in here. I'm not sure why this is the first time that someone has used Bridget for 2 Rockruffs and a Zoroark instead of 2 Zoroas and a Rockruff. But anyway, Bridget gets 2 Rockruffs and a Zoroark. Caleb might have another way to get more Zoroas into play. He's going to puzzle to look at the top 3 cards and put them in any order he wants. He's going to leave them in the order that they were in. Passes his turn, so we move over to Jason. Jason has Timer Ball, flips 2 coins, gets a number of evolution cards equal to the number of heads, and I know there's at least one. I couldn't see if there was a second one. Either way, he's searching for a Zoroark. He's going to evolve the active. And he only got 1 heads, or else he would have gotten another Zoroark to evolve the bench. And there's his first trade. I think it was a Bridget he got rid of. And there's a second Zoroark. He's going to trade there. He will not get a knockout this turn, even if he does hit a double, but I don't think he cares that much about getting a knockout right now. I mean, he obviously cares. He wants to get a knockout here, but it largely doesn't matter in the longer scheme of this game. Getting damage, not being able to get damage at this time, however, that could be a huge, huge blow to Jason's chances. And I don't think he has the double. Just played an N. Both players shuffle their hands into their decks and draw 6, which means that he did not hit the double colorless that he needed in order to deal damage with the Zoroark. Right now he's got 2 Zoroarks, and I think 2 what are these things? 2 Rockruffs in play. I don't know what that last card is. I see a Rockruff, and that's a Zoroark. So he has 2 Zoroarks, a Zoroark, and 2 Rockruffs. And I did not see a double colorless in that hand that Jason just drew. So he's not going to be able to attack, and he is now a turn behind, with being unable to attach any energies this turn. It looks like he just played another. He played another Ultra Ball to get another Zoroark out, and he's trying to dig for a double colorless, and he'll get 1 more trade. But this is the last card. These are the last two cards he's going to draw for this turn. Doesn't get a double colorless here. He's very, very much behind. Getting any energy would help him out, but he needs a double. He's going to double puzzle to bring a timer ball back. He's going to timer ball search his deck for a Lycanroc. It's going to bring up one of Caleb's Rockruffs, so that it can be knocked out. He basically, I'm not sure if he has the energies though. He still needs energies. But I guess just thinning his deck out might help with that. And there's his third trade. He needs a double colorless out of it, and I don't think he got it, or else he would have dropped it immediately. If he doesn't have the double, he might not even evolve. He's just gonna change. He's just gonna end turn whiffing an energy. That's huge. You cannot miss an energy drop in this matchup. Caleb brings out his own Lycanroc, evolves to Zoroark. He's going to want to attach a double to that Zoroark and a Floatstone to the active Lele. I only just noticed that Caleb whiffed his energy drop on his first turn as well. So maybe Jason's in a better spot than we think, but he's about to have no energies on the field, and that's a very, very bad thing for him to... Oh, we just realized that Tapu Lele was in play with a Parallel City in play, and that Tapu Lele search should not... That Tapu Lele should not do anything. They're going to have to figure out how to deal with this penalty. It's the deck search issue. They're trying to figure out what the penalty is going to be, and they're just going... It's going to end up being a gameplay error major warning for looking through your deck without a card effect. And he picks up the Tapu Lele. But they're still trying to figure out exactly what they're going to do. And instead he's just going to play Cynthia. Shuffles his hand into his deck, draws 6 cards. More than likely that was a gameplay error major, carries with it a warning at this Tier 1 event. If we were playing at a Regionals or higher level event, it would have been a double prize card penalty. But Caleb's going to draw his 6 cards. And he needs to get rid of that Parallel. That Parallel is really hurting him. So he gets his 1 trade for the turn. Got rid of a Zorua. In order to perform that trade, gets 2 more cards, so he should now have a hand size of 7. He has not played any cards from his hand. He just passes, again missing an energy. Ooh, that's... Both players are whiffing energy drops. This is not good. This is not good for either one of them. So Jason starts his turn. I've not yet seen if he's used a trade, but I do see a Mallow. That's going to let him put 2 cards from his deck on top of his deck, shuffle his deck afterwards. He's going to then trade to get those 2 cards into his hand. They're probably a Lycanroc and a double colorless energy, which he's going to use to bring up Caleb's benched Zoroark, and that'll knock it out pretty easily. Oh, that's interesting. He's going after the Lycanroc. And that does 150, 180, 200. 200 damage to knock out the Lycanroc. Jason has a commanding lead after that. He's just using all of his trades to make sure that he gets them, and uses his GX attack to knock out the Lycanroc. That is a huge turn Jason just had. Not only taking 2 prize cards, but getting the most threatening thing off of Caleb's board. It sounds like time was just called during Caleb's turn, so Caleb is turn 0, Jason is turn 1, Caleb is 2, and Jason will be turn 3. Just used Rescue Stretcher to get 3 cards get 3 Pokemon out of the discard pile, put them on top of his deck. Just evolved Lycanroc, and there's Tapu Lele getting an N. Now both players shuffle in and draw the number of cards equal to the number of prizes, but I don't think that Caleb has a legitimate way to get out of this. Jason's Lycanroc is hitting for 200 damage, and I just don't think... I think Caleb might have made a mistake by not forcing a switch there. I think he might have needed to force a switch in order to win this, and since he didn't force the switch, he might have misplayed. I see an Ultra Ball come out, and I don't know what he can search for because he still has Parallel City in play. Searches out Tapu Lele, but he can't bench it. Not again. I don't know how Caleb can come back from this. He needs to have a the only thing that he can... Oh, Jason doesn't have that's right, Jason is not hitting for 200 damage. That was for his GX attack. Caleb uses his trade. That GX attack will no longer knock anything out, and I don't even think that Jason's regular attack will knock out the Lele. So Caleb still has a chance, but he needs to knock out a Zoroark this turn. Jason drops the It sounds like there's a bit of confusion at the table behind me. It's we know that Jason doesn't have the 3rd energy in order to use his attack. If he does get a 3rd energy, that is a knockout, and Jason will take a 4 prizes lead on the 2nd turn of time. But he does have one more trade in order to get that 1 energy. Might have gotten double puzzle that would get him at least 1 energy out of his discard pile, I think. There should be an energy in his discard pile. But Kill has knocked anything out, so there might not be. Jason has a double puzzle, but he needs to start searching for things. He might have used... I can't tell if he switched out using Lycanroc or if it was a Guzma. It might have been switched out using a Guzma, in which case he doesn't have a supporter slot left to use. So Jason's just going to pass his turn because he already used Guzma and a retreat earlier in his turn. Caleb now has this final turn to take a 2-prize knockout to tie the game. But he does have the ability to get it. He just needs... He's going to puzzle a time to look at the top 3 cards of his deck and put them back down in any order that he wants. Played a puzzle to reorder the top cards of his deck. He's going to trade, draw 2 cards. Looks like a Floatstone and a Cynthia. Lets him shuffle his hand into his deck and draw 6 new cards. It also gives his Zoroark a free retreat. He can use any energy that he wants. He has, at this point, I think like 6 outs or something like that, 5 or 6 energies left in his deck that he can get after. He did already use his trade, so he's out of those. So 6 cards, he needs an energy. Any energy will do. And he might have hit an energy. There it is. He still has a GX attack to use, so he's going to retreat Zoroark, send up the Lycanroc, and GX attack for a 2-prize knockout. The game is now tied. It's now Jason's turn, and since he now needs to take a 2-prize knockout, I don't think he has the forces to get that at this point, while all Caleb needs is 1 energy to knock out either one of the Zoroarks. Jason might need to find a Lycanroc, Guzma it active, and hope to stall for a turn while he tries and gets more energy. Caleb has used GX attack, so the Lycanroc would be safe from a single attack. But I don't know if Jason has the horses to get what he needs at this point. I see him futzing with his discard pile, so he might have a double puzzle to pull some energies out of his discard. He needs to attach 1 energy to a Rockruff, and he needs to evolve that Rockruff into Lycanroc. He'll need to pull up the Tapu Lele, and ideally he wants to get the Zoroark out of the active. So, as stated before, we are now in time, and since prize cards are tied, the next prize card that gets taken will win the game. Or at least the next time that the next prize card that gets taken will win the game. Jason looks like he's fishing for a double puzzle. I see a double colorless put on top of his discard pile. That double colorless is only meaningful if he can attach it to a Lycanroc. And I think Jason realizes that this is probably his last... that this might be his last turn for this match. Because if Caleb can hit an energy and really anything else. But Jason's... I think that might have been a Mallow, but I couldn't see it. No, that's a Tapu Lele that he put on his bench. He's looking for a supporter card. He has already played his Mallow. He's going to grab a Sycamore. Probably in order to fish for some energies. Does need to get Lycanroc out of the active position. And again, ideally, get Zoroark out of the active position as well. So there's a trade, gets him 2 cards. He should still have 2 more trades to go. So, I mean, the situation hasn't changed yet. Jason is still searching for an energy card, a way to get that Lycanroc out of the active, and a Lycanroc himself to get into its active. He's just used all 3 of his just used all 3 of them, and he might have pulled something, I don't know, it's hard to tell. So there's a floatstone that he just dropped to his Rockruff. No, that's right, he's dropping it to the active Zoroark. And then he just played double puzzle. He's attaching a double to his active, and I don't know why he would attach that to the active. Why would you do that? Then a Lycanroc to bring up the Lele. He might, but if his opponent has an energy card, the game is not over. He needed Guzma to win anyway, so he figured he might be thinking about just getting some damage on the Lele and setting it up for a knockout. But Caleb only needs a Floatstone or a Guzma, and he has 9 cards to do that, at least, plus whatever supporter he might have. So he needs a Guzma and an energy, or so if you're going to attach to the Zoroark, you're going to attack with the Zoroark. I don't know why he would attach there and not attack with it. For me, I would have attached to the Lycanroc and retreated into it. So Jason's going to retreat into his Lycanroc, and he might be thinking about a multi-switch here. I don't know why he wouldn't just attach to the Lycanroc. So there's Caleb's trade, gets him 2 more cards. There's an energy. That's one of the cards that he needs. He now needs a Guzma. He's going to Sycamore. That's not going to get him the game this turn. So I see a double colorless in his hand. That doesn't mean anything for this. He needed a Guzma there, and he didn't get it. Jason now does have an out. He needs a multi-switch and a fighting energy. Multi-switch, fighting energy, and Guzma in order to win this. Field Blower is going to get rid of the Floatstone and the Parallel City. And Caleb looks like he just passed the turn. So Jason draws. He needs a multi-switch, an energy. He needs a lot of stuff. Like I said, I thought it was really... I don't know why he would attach that double colorless to the Zoroark there. Why wouldn't he just attach it to the Lycanroc? So he's going to use his first trade. He still has 2 more that he can use to dig for things. Second trade. 1 more to dig. Third trade. And he still has a supporter that he can use, but it's not gonna... I don't see what... He needs a Floatstone, a multi-switch, and an energy out of all of that. And I don't think he has all of that. The Floatstone. There's the energy. There's the multi-switch. But he's still only dealing 130 damage, 150 damage. And that's not enough to get a knockout this turn. Unless he has a Guzma and a Floatstone. Is that a Kukui? That was a Kukui. Did the extra 20 damage to knock out. For the knockout, does 170 damage off a Claw Swipe. Claw Swipe does 11, plus 20 for the Kukui, plus 20 for the Strong Energy, plus 30 for the Choice Band. Gets it to 170 and knocks out the Tapu Lele. So Jason is our Forbidden Light League Cup champion here at Level Up Games in South St. Paul, Minnesota. Thank you guys for watching, and I hope to see you next time.